Ambassador Day stood in the great chamber of the Galactic Council and waited. He was good at waiting. Humans had been waiting for 47 years now, ever since Earth had joined the Council. Waiting, watching, and learning. The chamber was enormous. It stretched up so high that the ceiling disappeared into darkness. Around the circular room sat representatives from 300 different species. Some looked almost human. Others were so alien that Day still couldn't tell which end was their head. All of them were more powerful than humanity, at least that's what they believed. His assistant Hana stood beside him. She was young, barely 30, with sharp eyes that never stopped moving. To everyone else she looked nervous. She was supposed to look nervous. Humans were always supposed to look nervous in the Council. The Council recognizes the human delegation, announced Speaker Voss, a tall creature with purple skin and 4 arms. His voice carried contempt. It always did. When he spoke to humans, Day stepped forward and bowed. He bowed lower than necessary. Thank you, honored Speaker. Thank you, honored Council members. I apologize for taking your valuable time. Several species laughed. The Keelans, who looked like giant insects, clicked their mandibles in amusement. The Zenthers, floating gas clouds with voices like thunder, rumbled with mockery. This was normal. Humans apologized. Humans bowed. Humans accepted insults with grateful smiles. We wish to discuss the recent incident at New Juju Colony. Day continued, his voice steady and polite. Incident, the word came from Krellel, ambassador of the Vin Dominion. Krellel was massive, nearly 3 m tall, covered in scales that looked like armor. His species had conquered 40 worlds. They were warriors, proud and brutal. You mean the territorial misunderstanding? Dee felt Hana tense beside him, but her face remained calm. They had practiced this. They had practiced everything. 40,000 humans died in that misunderstanding. Ambassador Krell, they said softly, civilians, families, children. Krell waved one huge hand dismissively. Acceptable collateral damage. Your people built their colony too close to Ren's space. They should have known better. We filed the proper territorial claims 70 years ago. Day replied. They were approved by this council. Times change, Krill said, showing his teeth in what might have been a smile. The strong take what they need. The weak learn to accept reality. This is the way of the galaxy. More laughter rippled through the chamber. They had heard it before. 47 years of laughter, of insults, of casual cruelty. Humanity had filed hundreds of complaints in that time. The council had ignored most of them. The few they acknowledged resulted in token gestures, tiny payments that insulted more than they compensated. I see, Day said. He bowed again. Then, on behalf of humanity, I formally request that the council mediate this dispute and provide appropriate reparations. Mediate. Speaker Voss's voice dripped with amusement. Ambassador Day, you've been here long enough to understand how things work. The Vin are a council founder species. Humanity has been a member for less than 50 years. You are, as we say, a juvenile species, still learning, still growing up. We understand our place, Dee said. He kept his voice humble, kept his eyes down. Played the part perfectly. Good, Voss said. Then you'll accept the council's judgment. We find that the Vin action, while regrettable, was within their rights as a founder species, protecting their territorial interests. We recommend a reparation payment of 50,000 galactic credits. Hana made a small sound. 50,000 credits wouldn't rebuild a single building on Nuju. The colony had been worth trillions. 40,000 lives had been lost, and the council was offering 50,000 credits. Is that acceptable, Ambassador Day? Boss asked. Every species in the chamber watched. This was entertainment for them. Watching the weak humans bow and scrape. Watching them accept injustice with grateful smiles. This was what humanity did, what humanity had always done. Day was quiet for a long moment. Then he looked up. His face was calm, empty. When he spoke, his voice was steady. I will need to consult with Earth before providing an answer. Something changed. In the chamber, it was subtle. Humans never asked for time to consult. They always answered immediately, always accepted whatever crumbs the council offered. You need to consult. Voss sounded annoyed. Very well, you have 72 hours. Return then with your answer. Thank you, honored speaker. Dave bowed one more time, then he turned and walked toward the exit. Hana followed. They could hear the laughter starting behind them, the jokes about weak humans who couldn't make simple decisions. The mockery that had become so familiar, it was almost comforting in its predictability. They walked down the long corridor in silence. Their footsteps echoed off marble walls. Only when they reached their private transport did Hana speak. Day, he looked at her. His face was still calm, but something in his eyes had changed. Check the date, he said quietly. Hana pulled out her data pad. Her fingers moved quickly, then she stopped. Her eyes went wide. The protocol, she whispered, expires in 14 minutes. Day confirmed. The first contact courtesy protocol. 50 years of careful planning. 50 years of humanity playing weak, playing stupid, playing grateful for scraps. 50 years of studying every species in the council, learning their weapons, their economies, their weaknesses. 50 years of letting them think humans were harmless. The protocol was ending. Should I send the message? Hana asked. Day thought about 40,000 dead civilians. He thought about 47 years of insults. He thought about every time a human diplomat had bowed, had apologized, had accepted injustice. With a smile, send it, he said. Hana's fingers flew over her data pad. Message was short, just 3 words and a code. Protocol expiration approved. Code Red Lotus. The message went out on quantum channels faster than light, reaching Earth in seconds. From Earth, it would spread to every human colony, every human ship, every human installation across 50 star systems. The council had given humanity 72 hours to accept their judgment. They had no idea that in 72 hours the galaxy would look completely different. Hana looked at Day. What happens now? Day smiled. It wasn't the polite, humble smile he'd worn in the council chamber. It was something else, something cold. Now he said, now they find out what humans are really like when we stop being polite. In orbit above the council world, 3 human ships maintained their position. They looked small, almost fragile, compared to the massive warships of the founder species. The council barely noticed them. They never noticed human ships. That was going to change. Inside the largest ship, Captain Ren received Hana's message. She read it twice, then looked at her crew. Signal the fleet, she said quietly. Code Red Lotus is active. Begin the operation. Across human space, 1,000 ships began to move, not military vessels officially. The Council didn't allow young species to have real militaries. These were corporate security forces, protection, fleets for mining operations, defense, ships for trade convoys. The Council had never asked what humanity was protecting those convoys from. They were about to find out. The courtesy protocol was over. The real humanity was waking up. And the galaxy wasn't ready. The Council chamber was full again. 72 hours had passed since Ambassador Day had requested time to consult with Earth. Now every species wanted to see what the humans would do. Would they accept the insult? Would they bow and scrape as usual? The betting pools gave overwhelming odds that humanity would simply accept the 50,000 credits and go away quietly. That's what humans did. They accepted, they apologized, they went away. Day entered the chamber with Hana at his side. He looked the same as always, neat suit, calm expression, polite posture. Nothing had changed. Several Kelvin representatives clicked their mandibles in amusement. The Zenthers rumbled with laughter before Day had even spoken. The Council recognizes Ambassador Day. Speaker Voss announced, "Have you consulted with your home world?" "I have, honored Speaker." "And does humanity accept the Council's judgment?" The chamber grew quiet. This was the moment they'd all come to see. The moment when humanity would bow one more time, accept one more injustice, prove one more time that they were weak. Day was silent for a moment. Then something happened that no one in the Council had ever seen before. He smiled. Not a polite smile, not a nervous smile. A real smile, the kind of smile a predator makes when it's done playing with its food. "We accept the Council's decision," Day said calmly. "However, I must inform you that as of 14 minutes before our last session, the human courtesy protocol has officially expired." Silence, complete silence. No one knew what that meant. "Protocol?" Voss asked. Slowly, for 50 years humanity has operated under a diplomatic protocol designed for first contact situations. Day explained. His voice was still polite, but something in it had changed. Something sharp. "The protocol required us to be accommodating, patient, careful, not to offend, to learn the rules before we acted." "What are you saying?" Krell demanded. The massive Vin stood up from his seat. "I'm saying the learning period is over," Day replied. "What happens next is not a diplomatic action. It's not a military action. It's a corporate one." "Corporate?" Voss sounded confused. "Earth doesn't have a unified government." "Speaker Voss, we have corporations. Very large corporations. Corporations that now have all the data they need to make informed business decisions." Day's smile grew wider, and attacking one of their facilities was a very poor business decision. "You dare threaten the Vin Dominion?" Krell roared. He moved toward Day, his massive form towering over the human. "You dare threaten a founder species?" Day didn't move, didn't flinch, just kept smiling. "I'm not threatening anyone, Ambassador Krell. I'm simply informing the Council that what happens next is outside our diplomatic purview. Have a pleasant day." He turned and walked out. Hana followed. The chamber erupted in confusion, and anger stopped them. Krell shouted, "Arrest them!" But Speaker Voss raised one hand. For what crime? He made no threats. He stated facts. Humans have corporations. This is known. He's planning something Then defend your territory, Ambassador. Krell, that is your right as a founder. Species, Krell's face twisted with rage, but Voss was correct. D had made no actual threats. He had simply stated that something would happen. The council couldn't act on that, could they? The answer came 6 hours later. Admiral T sat in the command chair of the Hanwha Samsung corporate flagship. Around him, the bridge crew worked in silent efficiency. No one spoke unless necessary. No one panicked. They had trained for this moment for 47 years. Status, Tay asked. All fleets in position, his second officer reported. Hyundai Stellar Guard reports ready. LG Orbital Strike Division reports ready. We have 300 ships total in Vin space. Any response from their military? They're scrambling now, sir. They didn't expect us, didn't think we could move this fast. Tay nodded. Of course they didn't expect it. Humanity had spent 50 years looking slow, clumsy, and harmless. The council thought human ships were decades behind galactic standard. They thought human weapons were primitive. They thought human tactics were predictable. They were wrong about all of it. Open a channel to all ships, Tay ordered. All frequencies. I want everyone to hear this. Communications officer nodded. Channel open, sir. This is Admiral Tay of the Human Corporate Security Forces. 47 hours ago, Vin military vessels attacked a civilian human colony. 40,000 people died. The Galactic Council has decided this is acceptable. We disagree. He paused, letting the words sink in across hundreds of ships and stations. We are not here for revenge. We are not here for war. We are here to collect a debt the Vin Dominion owes humanity for destroyed property, lost lives, and the violation of established territorial law. They have refused to pay. So we will take payment in the only currency they understand. Tay made a gesture. His weapons officer understood. Fire across 3 star systems. Human weapons opened fire, not on civilian targets, not on planets or stations, only on military installations. Vin warships, defense platforms, weapons factories, everything that could hurt someone. The Vin had been a warrior species for 3,000 years. They had fought hundreds of wars. They considered themselves the greatest military force in the galaxy. They lasted 18 minutes against the human fleets. It wasn't even close. Human weapons moved faster than Vin sensors could track. Human targeting systems could identify and eliminate threats, while Vin gunners were still trying to find their targets. Human ships moved like they could read minds, anticipating every defense, countering every tactic. In one engagement, Captain Wren's ship encountered a Vin battle group of 15 warships protecting a military station. The Vin admiral demanded Wren surrender. She responded by destroying all 15 ships in 4 minutes, then asked if the station wanted to surrender. It did. In another system, Commander Young's division encountered a Vin defense platform with civilian ships nearby. The platform opened fire, hoping the humans wouldn't risk civilian casualties. Young's weapons officer destroyed the platform with a single shot that threaded between 3 civilian vessels, none of which even detected the weapon's passage. The message was clear. Humans could kill you whenever they wanted. They could do it. Precisely, they could do it without harming anyone around you, and they could do it faster than you could possibly respond. Back in the council chamber, emergency session had been Called, the council members watched the battle in real time. Humans had provided live feeds to every major news network in the galaxy. They wanted everyone to see this. This is impossible, someone whispered. Human technology isn't this advanced. It is now, Hana said. Everyone turned. She stood at the chamber entrance alone. De wasn't with her. Where is Ambassador Day? Voss demanded. He's been reassigned, Hana replied. Walking toward the center of the chamber, she moved differently now. No more nervous assistant. She walked like someone who owned the room. I should introduce myself properly. My name is Hana. I'm a director of the Human Strategic Deception Bureau. Strategic. What deception? Hana repeated. For 47 years, my department has been managing humanity's image in the council, making sure you saw exactly what we wanted you to see. You lied to us. Krell's voice shook with rage. No, Hana said calmly. We just didn't correct your assumptions. You assumed humans were weak because we acted weak. You assumed our technology was primitive because we showed you primitive technology. You assumed we were desperate for your approval because we asked for it constantly. She smiled. It was the same smile they had worn. We were never weak, Ambassador Krell. We were being polite. There's a difference. On the screens behind her, another VIN military installation ceased to exist. The admiral commanding it had time to send one message before his ship exploded. They're not even slowing down. The council watched in silence. 300 human ships were systematically dismantling the military might of a founder species, and they were doing it without breaking a sweat. How long will this continue? Boss asked quietly. Hana checked her data pad. Based on current projections, another 15 hours should complete the operation. The collection operation, Hana clarified. We're taking payment for what was stolen from us. When we're done, the VIN military will no longer exist. Their civilian population will be completely unharmed. We're not monsters. She looked at Krell. We're just done being polite. The council chamber had never been this quiet. 300 species sat in stunned silence, watching the screens, watching humanity dismantle a founder species like it was nothing, like it was easy. Hana stood in the center of the chamber, her data pad in hand. She looked comfortable, confident, nothing like the nervous assistant who had stood beside Dave for years. I don't understand, Speaker Voss said finally. His voice sounded old, tired. How is this possible? We've seen your technology, your weapons, your ships. They were generations behind ours. You saw what we showed you, Hana replied. Every piece of technology we demonstrated was deliberately outdated. Every failed test was staged. Every time we asked for your help with a problem, we already knew the solution. We just wanted to see how you'd respond. She tapped her data pad. A new image appeared on the screens. It showed a human ship from 15 years ago, the kind the council had mocked for being primitive. Then the image changed, showing the interior, advanced weapon systems, stealth technology, power cores. That would have impressed even the most advanced species. This was one of our first-generation scout ships, Hana explained. We showed you the outside. We never let you see inside. You deceived the entire council. Voss said. Yes, for 47 years. Yes, why? The question came from Krell. The massive VIN had been quiet since Hana arrived, but now his voice carried something new, not rage, fear. Why go through such an elaborate Deception, Hana looked at him directly. Because we needed to learn. When humanity first made contact with the Council, we knew we were surrounded by species that had been traveling the stars for thousands of years, species that had fought wars before humans even existed. We were new, inexperienced, and outnumbered, so you pretended to be weak, we pretended to be harmless, Hana corrected. There's a difference. Weakness invites contempt, harmlessness invites indifference. We wanted to be ignored, dismissed, forgotten. While you were laughing at us, we were studying you. She brought up another image. This one showed a complex web of connections, linking every species in the Council. Every time we signed a bad trade deal, we gained access to your economic data. Every time we asked for military cooperation, we observed your tactics. Every time we attended a council session, we recorded your political relationships, your alliances, your grudges. Hana's smile was cold. Every insult you threw at us was data. Every time you told us no, we learned what you valued. Every time you took advantage of us, we learned what you feared. That's Voss struggled to find words. That's manipulation on a scale we've never seen. That's survival, Hana said simply. You're right that we were a young species. We still are, but humans have been manipulating each other since before we could write. Politics, espionage, corporate competition, it's what we do. We just applied those skills to a bigger stage on the screens. Another Vin military station surrendered. The human fleet didn't destroy it. They simply disabled it and moved on. Efficient, precise, terrifying. In their restraint, the attacks on New Jeju, Hana continued. That wasn't the first time a council species harmed human civilians. It was the 14th. We documented every incident, filed reports, asked for help, accepted whatever token gestures you offered, all while counting down to today. You were waiting, Voss said quietly, for the protocol to expire. 50 years, Hana confirmed. That was always the timeline. 50 years to learn everything we needed to know, then we could stop pretending. A Keelthan representative clicked forward, and if the Vin hadn't attacked New Jeju, if nothing had triggered this, we would have found another reason, Hana said, or we would have simply left the council and established our own alliance. This way was just more direct. The screen showed the human fleet entering a third star system. Vin had assembled a last defense, 100 warships. It was everything they had left against 300 human ships. It should have been a desperate last stand. It lasted 6 minutes. Admiral Tay didn't even need to give complex orders. His fleet moved like a single organism, each ship knowing exactly where to be and when. The Vin ships fired everything they had. Most of the shots missed. Few that connected with human shields barely registered. When it was over, the Vin admiral transmitted a single message. How did you become this powerful? Tay's response was broadcast to the entire council. We didn't become powerful. We always were. We just stopped hiding it. The council chamber erupted into chaos. Representatives shouted questions, accusations, demands. Several species called for immediate sanctions against humanity. Others demanded military intervention. A few just sat in shocked silence. Krellel stood, his massive form shaking with rage. This is an act of war. The council must respond. We must show these humans that they cannot simply attack a founder species. You attacked us first, Hana said calmly, we took territory that was rightfully ours, territory we had claimed and the council had approved. Territory you wanted, so you took it and killed 40,000 people in the process. Hana's voice was still calm, but something cold entered her eyes. You dismissed their deaths as collateral damage, acceptable losses, the price of doing business. That is the way of the galaxy, not anymore. The screens changed. Again, this time they showed the human fleets withdrawing, pulling back from Vin space, leaving behind the wreckage of hundreds of ships and installations. But no bodies, no civilian casualties. Every human attack had been precise, targeted, surgical, operation complete. A voice announced over the channel, it was Admiral Tay, all Vin military installations in 3 star systems have been neutralized, civilian casualties 0, collateral damage 0, time elapsed 18 hours 43 minutes. Hana looked at Krello. That's the difference between your attack and ours. You killed 40,000 civilians and called it acceptable. We destroyed your military and harmed no one else. We could have done more. We could have targeted your civilian population, your city, your home world. She let that sink in. We chose not to, because despite what you think of us, humans understand restraint. We understand the difference between justice and revenge. We just don't accept being treated as lesser anymore. The council will never accept this. Boss said, you've set a precedent. You've shown that younger species can challenge the founders. This will destroy the order we've maintained for thousands of years. Good, Hana said. Your order was built on the strong exploiting the weak, on founder species taking whatever they wanted and everyone else just accepting it. That order needed to be destroyed, and you'll replace it with what? Human domination. We'll replace it with actual justice, with real consequences for breaking the rules, with a system where species can't kill 40,000 people and face no real punishment. Hana looked around the chamber. We're not leaving the council. We're going to fix it. A small species. In the back, the Fenrari spoke up. They had been silent for the entire session. And if the council refuses, if we unite against you, Hana smiled. It wasn't a cruel smile, just confident. Then we'll show you what we did to the Vin was mercy. We disabled their military in 18 hours. How long do you think it would take us to disable yours, all of yours? The silence that followed was absolute. You wouldn't dare, Krello said, but his voice shook. We wouldn't want to, Hana corrected. There's a difference. We prefer cooperation, partnership, mutual respect, but if you force us to choose between being respected and being safe, we'll choose safe every single time. She pulled up a final image. It showed human ships throughout the galaxy, hundreds of them, thousands, all of them hidden, disguised as civilian vessels or stationed in remote systems, all of them ready. For 47 years you thought we had maybe 50 ships, maybe 100. You see them now. We have 5,000 combat vessels, fully armed, fully crewed, fully operational, and those are just the ones we're showing you. The number hung in the air like a threat. How many more do you have? Someone whispered. Hana's smile widened. That's the question, isn't it? Maybe we're showing you everything. Maybe this is all we have. Or maybe we're still being polite, still holding back, still hiding our real strength. She looked at each species in turn. You have no way of knowing, because for 47 years we lied perfectly, and you never suspected a thing. So ask Yourself, how can you trust anything you think you know about humanity now? The question echoed in the silent chamber. How could they trust? How could they? No, the humans had deceived them for half a century. What else were they hiding? Day will return to the council in 3 days, Hana said. When he does, he'll be bringing new proposals, new treaties, a new structure for how the council operates. I suggest you prepare to negotiate in good faith. And if we refuse, Voss asked. Hana turned toward the exit, then looked back over her shoulder. Then we'll stop being polite again, and next time it won't just be the Vin who learn what that means. She walked out, leaving the council in chaos. 3 days later, Ambassador Day returned to the council chamber. He looked exactly the same as he had for 47 years. Same neat suit, same calm expression, same polite posture, but everyone knew it was different now. Everyone could see the smile that wasn't quite hidden. Chamber was full. Every species had sent representatives. Some had sent their entire delegations. They needed to see this, needed to understand what humanity wanted, what humanity would take. The council recognizes Ambassador Day. Speaker Voss announced. His voice was careful, measured. No contempt this time. No mockery. Thank you, honored speaker. Day bowed, but it was a shallow bow. Respectful but not submissive. Never submissive again. You requested this session. Please speak. Day walked to the center of the chamber. He carried a data pad. Behind him, the large screens activated, showing a document, an itemized list. 3 days ago, the Vin Dominion attacked a human colony and killed 40,000 civilians. The council offered 50,000 galactic credits as reparations. We declined. Day's voice was calm, pleasant even. Instead, we've prepared our own assessment of damages. The list on the screen began to scroll. It was long, very long. 40,000 civilian deaths valued at the standard galactic life insurance rate of 10 million credits per person. That's 400 trillion credits. Krell stood up. That's absurd. No species values individual lives at 10 million. The Keltons do, Day replied smoothly. It's in your own insurance regulations. We're just applying your standards. He continued. Destroyed infrastructure on New Jew colony. Assessed value 237 trillion credits. Lost economic productivity over the next 50 years 190 trillion credits. Emotional damages to surviving family members 20 trillion credits. The numbers kept climbing. The list kept scrolling. And finally, a diplomatic discourtesy fee for the council's dismissal of human suffering, calculated at 1% of total damages. The final number appeared at the bottom of the screen. Total damages owed to humanity by the Vin Dominion: 847 trillion galactic credits. The chamber erupted. Representatives shouted disbelief. The number was impossible. It was more than most species made in a century. It was more than the Vin could possibly pay. That was the point. You cannot be serious, Voss said. I'm completely serious, Day replied. These are legitimate damages calculated using standards already established by council. Species, if you'd like to dispute any line item, we can discuss it. We don't have 800 trillion credits, Krell roared. We know, Day said, so we'll accept payment in territory instead. Your 3 nearest star systems should cover it. You want us to surrender 3 systems? We want you to pay what you owe. If you prefer to pay in credits, we'll accept that. If not, territory is Acceptable, or we can resume the collection operation and take 4. Systems, your choice. The threat was clear. The humans had stopped after 18 hours because they chose to stop. They could start again any time. This is extortion, someone shouted. No, said a new voice. This is business. Everyone turned. The screens changed, showing a holographic figure, a human man older than Day, wearing an expensive suit. He looked like someone used to being in charge, used to getting what he wanted. Who are you? Foss demanded. My name is Jin. I'm the CEO of Hanoa Samsung, the largest corporate entity in human space. I'm also the chairman of the Human Corporate Council, which means I speak for all of humanity's economic interests. Jin smiled. Ambassador Day is an excellent diplomat, but this matter has moved beyond diplomacy. This is a corporate negotiation now. We don't negotiate with corporations, Voss said. You do now, Jin replied, because Earth doesn't have a single government. We have 17 major corporations that control everything from mining to military production, and all 17 have agreed to the terms I'm about to present. Screens changed again, showing a new document. This one was titled Proposed Restructuring of Galactic Council Economic and Political Framework. For 47 years, the Council has operated on a system where founder species control everything. They set the rules, they break the rules when convenient, and younger species just accept it. That system has ended. Jin leaned forward, his holographic face filling the screens. Here are the new terms. First, all trade agreements will be renegotiated on equal footing. No more favorable rates for founder species. No more territorial claims without proper compensation. No more casual exploitation. You can't just rewrite the council charter, someone protested. We're not rewriting it, we are enforcing it. The actual charter, written 3,000 years ago, guarantees equal treatment for all member species. The founders have been ignoring that for centuries. We're just reminding everyone what the rules actually say, Jin continued. Second, military force cannot be used against civilian populations without council approval and oversight. What the Vin did to New Jeju violated at least 15 council regulations. From now on, violations will have real consequences. And who decides these consequences? Boss asked. You know, a restructured council leadership instead of 5 founder species controlling all decisions. We propose a rotating council of 15 species, 5 founders, 5 established members, 5 junior members, each with equal voting power. The chamber exploded in argument. This would break thousands of years of tradition. The founders had always controlled the council, always made the final decisions. Jin waited for the noise to die down. Third and most important, humanity will have permanent seats on all major council committees. Security, trade, justice, and exploration. We will have full access to all council records and full transparency in all decisions. You want to run the council, Krell said bitterly. We want to fix the council, Jin corrected. It's broken, corrupt, built on the assumption that might makes right. We're going to change that, and if we refuse, Voss asked quietly. Jin's expression didn't change. Then we leave the council, establish our own alliance, and begin offering membership to any species tired of being treated as lesser. How many species do you think would join us, 10, 50, 100, the question hung in the air. Everyone knew the answer. Dozens of species had been exploited by the founders for centuries. They'd been waiting for someone strong enough to challenge the system. Now, someone had. You're threatening to destroy the council, Voss said. We're offering to save it, Jin replied. The council serves a purpose. It prevents wars, facilitates trade, enables cooperation. Those are good things, but it only works if everyone trusts it. Right now, no one trusts it. Half the species here have been cheated by founder species. The other half are founder species who do the cheating. He paused. We can chain that, make the council what it was supposed to be, a place where disputes are resolved fairly, where rules apply to everyone, where killing 40,000 civilians actually matters, and humanity leads this new council, Voss asked. Humanity participates in this new council, Jin corrected. We're not trying to dominate anyone, we're just done being dominated. Day stepped forward. The chairman is offered terms. The council has 72 hours to decide, except the restructuring, or humanity withdraws and takes anyone who wants to come with us. And the Vindet, Krell asked. His voice was quiet now, defeated still. Oh, Day said. Though we're willing to negotiate payment terms, assuming that Vin agreed to the new council structure. Krell looked at Day, at Jin's hologram, at the screen still showing human ships. Throughout the galaxy, he was a warrior. From a warrior species, he'd fought hundreds of battles, but he knew when he was beaten. The Vin Dominion will consider your terms, he said finally. Excellent, Jin said. We and LT Unk and GTLL reconvene in 72 hours, I suggest. Everyone uses that time wisely. Hologram faded. Day bowed once more, polite, and left the chamber. The council members sat in stunned silence. Finally, a small voice spoke. It was the Fenrari representative, the same one who'd asked Hana about uniting against humanity. They planned this from the beginning, he said. All of it. 50 years of deception. Just to get to this moment. Yes, Voss agreed quietly. What kind of species does that plans for 50 years just to change the political structure of the galaxy? Voss looked at the screen, still showing human ships, still showing human strength that had been hidden for half a century. The kind that wins, he said. In a private meeting room, 14 other species had already gathered. They'd been contacted by human representatives hours before the council session. The offer was simple: join humanity's new alliance or stay with the old system. All 14 had agreed to join humanity. Restructuring had already begun. By the time the council voted in 72 hours, humanity would control more than a third of council votes, not through conquest, not through force, through simple business negotiations with species who were tired of being exploited. Jin had been right. The humans didn't need to destroy the council, they just needed to offer a better deal. 3 months had passed since the day the council watched humanity stop being polite. The galaxy looked different now, felt different. The old certainties were gone, replaced by something new, something that made the founder species nervous and everyone else cautiously hopeful. The council chamber had been remodeled. Instead of tiered seating with the founders elevated above everyone else, all seats were now on the same level, a circular arrangement where everyone could see everyone, equal footing, literal and symbolic. Counselor Day, not ambassador. Day sat in one of the 5 supreme counselor seats. Voss still held his position representing the old guard, but beside him sat representatives from species that 3 months ago had no real power, the Finari, the Cassi, the Murans, species that humanity had brought into the leadership. They owed humanity for that. They remembered who had given them a voice. Hana stood behind Day's seat, no longer pretending to be just an assistant. She wore the insignia of the Intelligence Directorate. Openly now, no more deception, no more hiding. Everyone knew what she was, what she could do. That was the point. The council will now address trade disputes. From the outer rim, Boss announced. His voice carried less authority than it used to. He was still speaker, but everyone knew the real power had shifted. The next hour was routine. Trade agreements were reviewed and adjusted. Territorial disputes were mediated fairly without automatic favoritism for founder species. 3 different cases were resolved in ways that would have been impossible under the old system. The council actually worked now, actually served its purpose. People noticed during a recess, a Kelton representative approached Day. The insect-like being clicked nervously. Gesture Day had learned meant anxiety. Counselor Day, may I speak freely? Of course, 3 months ago my species mocked humanity in this chamber. We laughed at your weakness. We were wrong. I wanted to apologize. Day smiled. It was a genuine smile this time, not the predatory one from 3 months ago. Apology accepted. You were working with incomplete information. We all were. How do you do it? The Kelton asked. How do you change everything without making us hate you for it? We give people what they actually want. Dee replied. Fair treatment, equal opportunity, the chance to succeed without being crushed by someone bigger. Most species aren't angry at us for changing the system. They're grateful, and those who are angry, Dave's smile shifted slightly. Just enough. They're learning to be polite about it. The Kelvin clicked in what might have been laughter and walked away. Hana leaned down. The Vin ambassador has requested a private meeting. Krellel. No, they replaced him. The new ambassador is younger, less aggressive. Good. Schedule it for tomorrow. Dave paused. How is the Vin reconstruction coming? They've paid the first installment on the debt. 3 small systems in the disputed zone. Our corporations are already establishing operations there. Civilian operations only. Medical facilities, schools, infrastructure repair already in progress. The Vin population in those systems is actually relieved. We're providing better services than their own government was. Day nodded. That was intentional. Humanity wasn't conquering the Vin, they were replacing them. Slowly, carefully, making themselves indispensable. In 50 years those systems would still technically be Vin territory, but everyone living there would think of themselves as under human protection. The long game, always the long game. New business, Voss announced. As the session resumed, the Catherine Collective has applied for council membership. A door opened. The Catherine delegation entered, and immediately the atmosphere changed. They were a warrior species, that much was obvious, tall, covered in natural armor, moving with aggressive confidence. Their leader strode to the center of the chamber. Without being invited, I am war leader. Thax of the Catherine Collective, he announced. His voice was loud, demanding attention. We have conquered 15 worlds. In our expansion, we come before this council to claim our rightful place. Among the powers of the galaxy, silence. Several species exchanged glances. This was exactly the kind of aggressive posturing that used to work in the old council. Founder species respected strength, or at least the appearance of it. The Catherine sound impressive. Thax continued, we do not request membership. We demand it. We will not be treated as some minor species begging for scraps. We are warriors. We take what we deserve. More silence. Thax looked around the chamber, clearly expecting resistance, expecting someone to challenge him. Day stood up. He smiled warmly. War Leader Thax, welcome to the council. We're honored by your application. Please take a seat. We have refreshments if you'd like. Would you prefer protein-based or carbon-based nutrients? Thanks. Stopped. He'd clearly expected argument, confrontation, maybe even threats. Not hospitality. Protein-based. Excellent. Hana, please arrange that. The gesture to an empty section of seating. Please make yourself comfortable. Joining the council is a significant process. It takes time to learn our customs, our procedures, our expectations. We're very patient with new members. Patient. Thax seemed confused by the word. Of course, we understand that every species has different backgrounds, different cultural norms. The council exists to help new members integrate smoothly. We want you to succeed. Hana returned with refreshments. She placed them beside Thax with a polite smile, the same smile they wore, the same smile she'd worn 3 months ago when explaining to the council how humanity had deceived them. That sat down slowly. Something about this felt wrong to him, but he couldn't identify what. Now Day continued, the membership process typically takes several months. During that time you'll observe council sessions, learn our protocols, and establish diplomatic relationships with other member species. We encourage new applicants to take their time, really get to know how things work here. We are warriors, said. We do not need months to understand weakness. Several species tensed. That was the kind of insult that would have caused fights in the old council. Day's smile never wavered. Of course you're warriors. That's wonderful. The council benefits from diverse perspectives. Your martial experience will be valuable in our security discussions. He turned to Voss. Mr. Speaker, I move that we grant the Catherine Collective provisional membership status. All in favor. Every hand went up. Every single one. The founders, the established members, the junior members. Unanimous. Welcome to the council, War Leader Thax, Voss said formally. Thax looked around the chamber. Something was very wrong here. This wasn't how he'd been told the council worked. Strong species were supposed to fight for dominance. The weak were supposed to resist. That's how power worked. But everyone was smiling at him. Everyone was welcoming. It felt like a trap, but he couldn't see where the trap was. After the session ended, Thax approached Day. You are human? Yes, I am. I have heard stories. 3 months ago, you destroyed a founder species. We dismantled their military capability. Day corrected. The Vin people are fine, thriving actually. We're helping them rebuild, but you defeated them. We resolved a dispute. Said carefully. The Vin owed us a debt. We collected it. Now we're partners. They attend every council session. They vote on every issue. They're still a valued member of the galactic community. Thax stared at Day. You made them weak. We made them fair, Day replied. There's a difference, as Thax walked away still. Confused, Hana moved beside Day. How long do you think until they figure it out? She asked quietly. Day watched the Catherine delegation leave. If they're smart before they hurt someone, if they're not, he didn't finish the sentence. Didn't need to. Aquilan, diplomat, the same one who'd apologized earlier, approached them. He'd overheard the conversation. You're doing it again, he said, the courtesy protocol. Being polite while you wait to see what they do. We prefer to give species the benefit of the doubt, Des said, and if they attack someone, Des' smile shifted just slightly, just enough to remind the Keelthan of 3 months ago. Then we'll educate them gently at first. We're very patient teachers. The Kellen shuddered. Humans are terrifying, no, Hana said softly. We're just not angry anymore. That's what makes us terrifying. Above the council world, human ships maintain their positions more than before. Many more sleek corporate vessels with names like Hyundai Stellar Guard and Samsung Defense Initiative. They looked peaceful, harmless almost. Inside those ships, crews trained. Weapon systems stayed calibrated. Targeting computers tracked every vessel in the system, calculating firing solutions, updating threat assessments, maintaining perfect readiness just in case. Captain Wren sat in her command chair, watching the council world on her screens. Beside her, Commander Young reviewed the latest intelligence reports. Everything was quiet, peaceful. Think that Catherine will cause problems? Young asked. Wren shrugged. Maybe, probably. Species like that usually need to test boundaries, and if they test ours, then we'll remind them. What happened to the Vin? Politely. Young smiled. I love the new humanity. The new humanity is the old humanity. Wren corrected. We just stopped pretending to be something else. In the council chamber, Day returned to his seat. Hana stood behind him, data pad in hand. Around them, 300 species conducted business, made deals, resolved disputes, built the future.